Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and today we're going to take a look at the 5 new 3-stars that are coming to Epic 7 with this week in South Winterberg, I think, and take a look at whether or not you should build them, where they might be used, potentially how to gear them, so many different things. Also, if you want to see their animations and their base stats, they are all in the link in the description below in their Twitch VOD. Not really feasible for me to go through it, since they pause it a bunch and it's annoying like my videos, so we'll just do it this way. First up is Godmother, and Godmother is the whiff of the bunch. She is not good whatsoever, IMO. Her skill 3 enhanced maneuverability is utilizes the power of an enhancement cube, granting all allies increased speed and effectiveness for 2 turns, which is not very good. Has no real impact on the board, has no debuffs or anything, which by the way, she has a effectiveness awakening, so it's kind of wasted on her skill 3. Her skill 2 is a powerful missile, 75% chance each to decrease hit chance and attack for 1 turn. Not a good ability either. In fact, this skill set kind of reminds me of somebody else very bad, Jenna. Just like 2 things that don't really do anything and don't do it enough for it to matter. And then her gunshot here, skill 1, is a 35% chance to target them for 2 turns, likely going up to 50% with stigma as a bonus. Overall, very, very, very subpar skill set. I rate her like a 2 out of 10 on the usability scale. I just don't see a use for her anywhere. Also, you can't see it here. I'll scroll up. She leads the discarded. Well, turns out I'm going to be discarding her. So, yeah, that's Godmother there. Again, no real use. Don't recommend it unless you want to meme on people with Grandmother over there. Next up is Ian. And Ian is pretty cool looking. He behaves very courteously. He questions why he needs to wait on humans hand and foot. That's kind of funny. So he's another Ice Ranger. The one important part about him is he has 118 base speed, which is bonkers, and he has a pretty good kit to take advantage of it. So his skill 2, which is the one we'll look at first, combat support. This is a theme with a lot of the new mechs, is they grant themselves extra turns with their abilities. Kind of what you need to do. Like if you ever want to do a buff for somebody, if the buff isn't ridiculous, then they kind of have to give themselves an extra turn, you know? Like if you have somebody like Meg Chloe that revives an attack buff, that's okay. But if you have somebody that like buffs attack and that's it, you know, you kind of need to give them an extra turn. So combat support grants increased attack for 2 turns and grants the extra turn from a caster. I think that was a 4-turn cooldown. And high density explosive cube attacks all enemies with powerful explosives with a 75% chance to dispel 1 buff, unfortunately. And 75% chance to decrease hit chance for 2 turns. And do note, it dispels first and then decreases hit chance, which is great. And it also grants him skill nullifier, which is very, very important, because after he does this, he's going to get SS Speed or Charles or something like that, and that does help there. Although Charles is just going to remove all his buffs after, but it is what it is. Slow burn increased damage dealt. I don't think this is going to be too useful. I don't think he's going to have the highest multipliers. But the thing to note here is it is only 10 souls, and he does generate extra souls with his extra turn on his skill 2. So this could be one of those kind of sleeper soul burns you don't kind of expect to be good. And then his skill 1 here is a 50% chance to dispel 1 buff from the enemy. And of course, the 75% chance on skill 3 and 50% on skill 1 are likely higher with stigma as well. So that makes it even better. So this is a really, really good skill set, IMO. I really do like this one, especially considering he's got 118 speed. You can use him as your attack buffer and then dispel and decrease hit chance as well. But at the same time, he doesn't have ignores enemy resistance, so it's going to be hard to do that. But overall, it's a 3-star that you're able to skill up no problem, that should be able to do something. And when somebody is plus 15, even if they have low base damage, he's still going to do quite a bit of damage just with that extra skill ups. So not too bad there. I do like him. He's one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite. Nah, not my favorite out of these. We then have this dude, Glenn. And Glenn is another one that is a little bit spicy. So his skill 3 is an enhancement cube, grants the caster increased attack and greater attack by that. for 2 turns and gives him an extra turn. So that's obviously very, very good. Buffing yourself with greater attack is insane. And then skill 2, yeah, here it comes. Fires a missile at the enemy, and when the enemy is defeated, inflicts extinction. And also, hit chance is increased by 15% when using the skill. And also, soul burn for 10 souls increases damage dealt. So this is pretty much a build your own kill Rylot, kill Arbiter VILDRED, kill whatever sort of thing. It's awesome. It's so great that this is accessible at a 3-star. It's also the right element probably too. Having it be Earth is pretty great as well. Overall, really impressed with this kit, and it'll depend on his multipliers, but with the soul burn and self-buffing, I have to imagine this is going to be somebody you can slot into your teams no problem if you're looking to snipe somebody off with revive. And then he has a really amazing decreased defense for 2 turns, 50% chance with the skill ups, I believe. Overall, a really, really, really solid unit. And remember, because you have skill 2 and skill 3, you're going to be using your skill 1 a lot, which is a 50% chance to defense break. And also, you're going to be able to cycle through turns fast with his extra turn on his skill 3. So I think this guy is going to be pretty great. And I imagine if he ever gets his specialty change, he's going to be insane. So definitely somebody to look out for here. And he's one I will try out for sure. And now the Spicy 2. The Spicy 2, design-wise anyway. This is the one I was most excited for. This is Sonia, a genius hacker. Her design is 10 out of 10. Again, if you want to see all the designs, it's in the link description below. But she's not so great. She's a Soul Weaver, and she is 94 speed, so she is slow as molasses. Her cube aura uses an enhanced recovery cube to grant all allies immunity for 2 turns before recovering health, and the health is proportionate to caster's max HP, not the target, so you're going to want a lot of HP on her as well. So probably not a speed set because her speed is so low, and you'll use 45 speed boots to get her out of that 90 zone, and then a bunch of HP/defense gear on top of that. And then we have recovery here, which is recovers the target's health using a recovery cube and dispels 2 debuffs. I like that. An amount recovered increases proportional to the caster's max HP again, and the soul burn is 20 souls, which is a little unfortunate, and it hits all allies. And then skill 1 is a barrier to the caster with the lowest health for 2 turns. So not really sure what to think about this one. I don't really think it's a good option for new players. You'd rather use a Momo, especially considering as a light unit, a very, very, very not so great Soul Weaver light unit. You can't really use them too well in hunts and stuff, which is why like a Momo is infinitely better on top of that. And then to top it up even more, we have SC Doris coming out, which by the way, they were supposed to release today, but they didn't. So we'll see how that ends up, but I expect her to not be too great, which is a shame because her design is 10 out of 10. And the final one, the people I think that the one I think people like the most design-wise, this is Inos. She's a cat bot, and it's super adorable. So her skill 3 is Firepower Cube, which attacks all enemies, heals all allies, grants attack and speed for 2 turns, and proportionate to the target's max HP. So pretty decent skill 3. It does a lot. It heals, it buffs, it does damage, it has proportionate damage as well. But I'm kind of worried how much this will do. I feel like it's not going to do much at all, especially considering, if I remember, her attack stats are extremely low, and honestly, like, attacking all enemies may be detrimental to her because it's just going to get countered and give Rylot stuff. So it might actually be harmful to her skill set. Kind of depends on how it works out. Her skill 2 is fantastic as well here. Really, really good. Probably the reason to use her. And that's at the end of the turn, increases combat readiness of the ally except for the caster with the highest attack by 15% and dispels 1 debuff from an ally as well. I really, really, really do like this, especially considering the dispel from an ally doesn't just hit the target with the highest attack. It'll hit anybody with a debuff randomly, like Wondrous Potion Vial. So that's fantastic. And then her skill 1 is a decreased defense for 1 turn. So I really the more I think about this, I think it might be okay, because if you consider Firepower Cube and you build her, she's a Soul Weaver, you build her with something like an Idol's Cheer, possibly something else, maybe on a counter set as well. Even if you throw out a Firepower Cube, if you get counterattacked, you're then proccing Idol's Cheer, and on top of that, you're also proccing your Skill 2 Maneuver Support, which is going to boost somebody up like 50% combat readiness, which is insane. So potentially she might be good in that scenario. I'm not sure, but it's just something to think about. Like the options you have for CR boosting there is great. And then of course, if you have her on a counter set as well, she can decrease defense for 1 turn on her skill 1 with a 65% chance, I believe, with the skill up. So overall, those are all the units we have here. Whether or not you should build them, obviously, if you're short on resources, you should really wait until we try them in action. Nobody really knows until we see. But my quick thoughts here is Godmother, no thank you. Grandmother, get back in your chair. Ian here, pretty fantastic, but I don't think he's going to be good enough. I think there's better options unless he happens to do insane damage. I would build him with super fast damagey, by the way, kind of like a Rylot almost. I would build this one. I don't even know. I would not build that one. Glenn, I would build probably really fast and damagey as well, because you're not going to need too much damage to kill your target, right? Because you have burn increased damage dealt. For this one here, I don't know how I would build her. Probably slow. Her counter doesn't really work. So just really tanky, and I'm not sure what else. And this one here, I would probably build her very fast and a little bit tanky. And if you don't like that idea, maybe in the 200 speed range with a counter set and Idol's Cheer or something is what I'm thinking of, but not sure how much these are going to be used. I think they're definitely better than the last set outside of Lena, because Lena can obviously farm really well. And that's about it. That's all I wanted to say here. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. If I missed anything, which is very possible I did, because I'm recording these right as they're released and reading it as we go together. So let me know in the comments below and I'll try to correct it. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.